Today we're finally back with more Gearblocks, and I spent a lot of time working on a cool new project, and I know it's not that great, but that's okay. It's right here. It's my new 2-seater Roadster. So I really love Miatas. I've always really loved Miatas, and I would love to buy myself a wonderful Miata someday. I have literally 2 drift car Miatas, and I'm about to buy a third because I have a problem. Anyway, I love Miatas. They're really, really fun little cars. So I wanted to make that same sort of vibe, but of course, I lack the aesthetic ability to make a Miata. So I started with, like, the Miata diagram, and I looked at, you know, the Miata sort of, let's call it the layout, you know, the wheelbase, the length, those dimensions. And I tried to preserve those dimensions as best I could in Gearblocks, and they're not great. And then I tried to look at the Miata front and rear suspension setups and build something similar, and it seems to be sort of like a double wishbone independent arms sort of system with a coilover down in the middle, and that's what we've got here. So I built this frame first, and this took a fair amount of time just to build this wonderful frame, but we've done a lot of frames in Gearblocks, and that gets really boring to me that, like, you know, we don't ever have a car body on these frames. It's just like, congratulations, here's a frame, and plus it changes the weight. Like, the weight in Gearblocks is very important. A lot of you guys pointed out that my other car, that my test chassis, always pulled to the one side because the character has weight, and now that I've built the whole car, it doesn't do that, right? Because it's actually got an entire car setup. But anyway, it's a pretty cool setup. I mean, it's pretty simple. We've got an independent suspension front and rear. I love this. I built a really, I thought, creative steering rack system because, you know, it's a video game and we don't actually care. This doesn't have to be supported. You can just tell this to, like, stay on that and it'll just magically hold itself there, and we can build the whole thing inverted, so it's upside down. And the reason I thought that was really cool is if we remove this electric motor, this is where our drive shaft goes all the way to the rear through the center of the cab, and you can see I actually, you know, covered it up and spent some time doing some stuff. But anyway, that's where, right now it's just an electric drive, but now it gives us a nice large engine compartment to put in an engine, you see. So that's what we're gonna do today. This one's still electric drive, and then, yeah, of course, we go to the rear, comes to a differential here, just goes straight to both axles through a diff. But it's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of this car. So this is the car. It's pretty simple. We've got brakes, you know, which is cool. We've got H for hazard lights. There's no logic yet, so there's no way for me to make, like, a turn signal that, you know, blinkers, like, blinks on and off. I wasn't sure if there's a way to do that. But anyway, we got all 4 hazard lights on and off. We got L for our, you know, our front headlights, right? So you can do all that stuff, and they all work. They all project light. It's super cool. And then my favorite, when you press reverse, the reverse lights come on. Right, so that's kind of cool, right? So anyway, we've got an electric drive. It's pretty simple. There's no gearbox in it or anything right now, but it drives like stupid well because I actually spent way too much time on it, and way too much time doing a lot of stuff. And on top of that, that version drives terrible, the chassis version, for 2 reasons. 1, it doesn't have a lot of weight, and 2, it doesn't have sway bars. Oh, that's an interesting texture clip there. It doesn't exist, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I put sway bars on this version because after I started driving it, I was like, wait a minute, we need sway bars. And what's that, you ask? Well, I don't know if this is like the proper way to do it, but essentially in real life, the front axle and the rear axle are connected. So, like, not the front and rear are connected, but the front, like the 2 sides of the front are connected, right? Your 2 halves of the suspension. And it usually relies on what? Like the torsion of a giant piece of steel, basically. So I don't know if this is the right way to do it. I'm not an expert on car sway bar mechanics, but I did this, and it works, and it's kind of beautiful. So let me just show you. We're gonna pin the car up. I'm really excited about it. I'm not even joking. I spent, like, legitimately probably about 40 hours building this car, and I know it looks like hot garbage to a lot of people, and I'm okay with that. I also, after I built this car, I went and talked to Moombo. For those of you guys who don't know, Moombo is sort of the scrap mechanic expert at turning square blocks into beautiful looking creations. And so I said, hey, Moombo, there's this great game I've been playing called Gearblocks, and, like, maybe, I don't know, you might want to build me some cool-looking cars. So maybe Moombo at some point in time will get into this game. I'm really hoping I can convince him to, and I'm like, Moombo, I can help you build some cool chassis that work and everything. You know, I can help you build the drivetrains and stuff. I just need you to aesthetically build me the car chassis, and maybe we can do some cool collabs, because Moombo quite literally is the expert at turning blocks into beautiful works of art. But I thought this looks pretty cool. It's a little wide body Roadster, right? We got our little, you know, little wide fenders. I did, you know, we could have narrowed it out, but I did put a wide body kit on it with just, you know, longer arms because stability and stuff. But yeah, I thought it looks pretty cool. You know, it's got a little skirt. It's got a front grille that's completely open because, you know, we need to cool that engine compartment. And then, you know, we've got just nice little skirts, wide fenders there in the back that goes to a little bit of a wider tire, and then sort of like a wide end with a fake spoiler that doesn't actually do anything. So anyway, we're going to put an engine in this. We're going to put an i4 in this, and then eventually we're going to put more ridiculous engines in this. So we can just kind of pull the hood off. I didn't put any, like, servo mechanisms to pop the hood or the doors. It just seemed like an excessive waste of, you know, physics calculations and stuff. Anyway, this is the bar I made, the sway bar. I think it's kind of cool. It seems to work. So you've got a pin here with a ball on it on each of the two suspension arms, lower control arms, right? And then this pin with this ball is connected with this ball cup to this little axle piece, but this axle, like, or this, I don't know what this is called, whatever, this eyelet piece. Anyway, it's attached to this axle, and this axle goes straight through and is allowed to rotate through this frame piece, and then there's two torsion springs here just for symmetry. I would do it with one, but then it would be offset, so I want to do two just to make sure the weight is even and everything's symmetrical. But yeah, so this axle here then goes through that piece there, and that piece there, but these two axles are connected, and there's nothing stopping them from rotating against each other other than the fact that there's these two springs, right? So ideally, they always want to stay basically relative to each other, but the springs allow them some freedom, and essentially, as this, you know, this lower control arm goes down, it swivels this whole mechanism down, which would swivel this whole thing, like, you know, in the clockwise direction. And then that, of course, would cause this one to also want to go down with it. But it's got its own forces that are opposing it. So essentially, it keeps your two control arms sort of linked together, but they're still allowed to move independently, but there's a resistance there. And basically what it seems to do in Gearblocks, which is, I'm assuming is what it does in real life as well, is it doesn't have that wobble back and forth as much. Your suspension seems to, like, work sort of together to stabilize the car. Your car still leans left to right. Don't get me wrong, it all still works. But this sort of a mechanism seems to help. Again, I'm not an expert on, you know, if this is accurate enough to how they work in real life. It seems to help in Gearblocks. I know in real life it's like this really long bent piece of steel, and I looked up some diagrams of it, but I don't know if I'm doing it accurately or not. Love to hear from you guys in the comments down below, because I know a lot of you guys know a lot more about this stuff than I do. Anyway, I did one of those in the front, did one of those in the back as well. They both seem to work. They do help. So anyway, let's pull this pin out, and let's throw an engine in. So let's pull this electric engine out. Somehow we've got to get a gas engine here, and then we've got to get the, you know, the gearing down to this drive shaft. I assume that, like, you know, this would sort of be your transmission space right in here, which isn't a lot of space for a transmission, but I feel like we can make a 3-speed in here, no problem. And then the engine will go maybe a little forward. I'll take that off. Thank you. Let's take the pin out. Yep, perfect. And then we got to drop this into there somehow. All right, let's just grab the bottom of it, I guess. It's going to fit. What's the... Oh boy. It does that. I mean, it kind of fits. That's actually sick. We could just put a little bit of a raised hood. How far back do I go here? Oh, that's actually amazing. And then we just drop that down. That's our starter gear. Yeah. I mean, I could, like, realistically, if we wanted to make this fit a little better, we could pull this bar out, and then oh no, wait, no, that's the bar. That's the bar the steering rack slides on. Yeah, we can't remove that. Shoot. I mean, we could half block it down. Or we have to just half block the engine. Yo, this is sick. No, this is actually... I'm here for this. We need to make basically... This kind of car needs like a flat. Honestly, we need like a flat 6. If I built a flat 6 like boxer engine, you know, where the cylinders are on either side and they shoot in towards the middle, I think that's exactly what this car is calling for. Like, it's got a nice wide engine compartment, but it's not very tall. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're gonna throw this in it. I'm okay with the way that is there. Yeah, that fits perfect. So that's cool. And then we're just gonna gear this down. All right, so this fits. This is an 8 to a 32, so it's a 1-to-4 reduction. I think that's gonna be fine because I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're up at 6,000 RPM. So, and that's like, that would be 6,000 RPM straight to the wheels. I think that would be insane. So yeah, no, 1-to-4 reduction is probably okay. We can always adjust this later. This is not a lot of room for a transmission, I realized. I was talking to a friend of mine, and they were like, you know, you should probably build like an SUV to actually, you know, test big engines. And that's true, but I really just wanted to build a small 2-seater Roadster. But yeah, this needs like a flat 6 boxer engine with a nice little 3-speed or something, and that would be just flat up amazing. But anyway, I think that's pretty much all we got to do. Is mount the engine in. This is a speedometer. Oh yeah, we should do some connections. I'm currently not playing with fuel consumption on. I guess I should do that because we should put a gas tank in the back here. Yeah, can I fit a 70-liter tank in the back here? Yeah, this seems fine. There we go. So there's our 70-liter tank right behind the passengers. That's always great. All right, that's good. We have a screen for the kilometers per hour. That's connected to the speedometer. I want to connect this to the drive axle output, and I want this to tell me the RPM. Yeah, RPM of the motor. That's perfect. Yeah, so we got RPM and velocity. I'm not gonna lie, the first person view is not great in this because this bar sort of gets in the way. I guess we could like move this bar or paint it clear, but you know, I like the look of this. I wish I should lower the seats by one. You know, technically your head would get crushed in a rollover, but you know, I don't know, whatever. We could raise the whole car up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm monologuing here. All right, so that's all connected. I think we're good. Motor, starter, alternate. Yeah, I mean, we'll find out, I guess. If we don't have something connected, the car won't drive. All right, so let's just cover up the hood now. There we go, something like that. Kind of covers the engine up. You know, it's fine. It's a test vehicle. We're just gonna, I have no idea what's gonna happen, honestly. We can turn off collision, so let's save this. Let me just, whoops, let me do this. Builder tool there, let me just minimize that. Let's really quickly save this as the Con 2-seater with i4. You know, because it's now got an engine. And then let's just drop this lower to the ground. And let's just turn off invincibility. There we go. All right, so now first thing we gotta do is turn it up. Wait, why are some of my wheel brakes not on? That's interesting. Oh, my front wheel brakes are off. Oh, boy. Oh, only one? Are you serious? I must have just done that now, because if I was doing that when we were test driving it, the car would have pulled so hard. Anyway. Oh, right, I forgot invincibility was off. You can't drop a car from that high. It'll break. Wait, do I not have a clutch? Okay, well, I have a few problems. Number one, I don't have a clutch. I forgot to have a clutch. Number two, is my car not working because of energy consumption? Do I really suck that bad? Like, let's just do a quick check, and let's just turn off energy consumption. And yeah, I don't have a clutch. And then so let's just pin this up, because I totally forgot. I removed the clutches from the engine. So we're just literally trying to start the engine while straight driving it. Yeah, this is a really stupid. We need a centrifugal clutch right here. All right, perfect. We just got a little centrifugal clutch in there. We can tune that, and that way we can actually not just have to deliver. Yeah, I was wondering why the starter was struggling so much. So that's problem number one. All right, so that's good. Engine's up, so let's see if we could start the car now. Yeah. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, and it can drive. All right, so that's a good sign. So now let's go enable energy consumption. You know, you'd think that I would do these things in the proper order to figure this out. So now does the car start? No. Is my battery dead? What's my battery at? Power 0. Can I fill you back up? Charge remaining 0%. All right. After a whole ton of effort, I think I figured it out. We have energy consumption on, and I got it working. I think like some of the connections break when you move stuff around. So we've got a gas tank. It's got 70 liters. It is consuming gas. It's fine. I have no idea how to fill this gas tank. There's no way for me to change that unless I go turn off energy consumption. But anyway, if we turn off energy consumption, it fills the gas tank. The battery's working. Right? Yeah. Think? Seems to be working. It's charging off the alternator, I think. We've got a clutch. Alright, so we should be good to go. So now I can actually finally save this. And let's try it. I think we need a little bit steeper of a gear ratio. A lot steeper of a gear ratio. Uh-oh. I think something broke. No? Oh, no, you know what it is? We just got like completely through the centrifugal clutch range where the clutch is just fully open. Yeah. Okay, we just need. All right, let's change the gear ratio. This is actually working quite well. I mean, it helps when you have a car with actual weight to it. But anyway, let's. Yeah, we gotta change this gear ratio here. So we're just gonna make this a little bit steeper on the drive, and you know, that way it'll kind of get more top speed out of it. Definitely need some transmissions. We might have just gone too steep now. We're getting there, 600, 700 RPM, 40-something kilometers an hour. Steering wheel's sort of in the way. Didn't really think that through. Yeah, and you can see this bar is kind of in the way. I didn't really design this to be a car driven in first person, but there we go, 63 kilometers an hour, 1,000 RPM. Oh. I guess our wheels might rub a little bit on the wheel wells. I was trying to give it that. Oh, it's when we turn the suspension. Yeah, you know, it's got that slammed look though. It needs like a. I think we bottom out a little bit. You know, it's supposed to be. Oh yeah, we definitely bottom out a little bit. It's supposed to be a race car, but we're losing wheel well parts. It's a bit unfortunate. I mean, I could stiffen the suspension, I guess. It's fine, it'll fall out eventually. Yeah, it needs slightly stiffer suspension, and we need, I mean, ultimately we need a gearbox. I need to start working on building transmissions. But this is still pretty cool. Like, I'm not mad about this at all. What's our top speed gonna end up like? 100 and something? With that one medium electric, I was doing about 130-ish. This drift, that's so sick. Can we get rid of that part hanging out the butt of the car? No, we're just gonna grind it along. Okay, let's, you know what, let's stop for a sec here. Let's just delete this version, because obviously it's, yeah, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop rubbing on the wheel wells. All right, and then we're gonna grab the same thing again. I'm gonna change the gear ratio, and we're gonna stiffen the suspension a little bit. All right, I'm not happy with this solution, but like, it kind of works. So I removed some of the pieces here that are just sort of holding it there, so now the axle's just kind of exposed. I mean, I guess we could do this. It doesn't really make a difference, but we can do that. Just attach it to another point. There we go. But anyway, the axle comes in through here. It goes up to this gear, which now I realize this is 2 gears. It's going to reverse this, so one of these has to be a pulley. Right. But anyway, yeah, we're doing basically a double gear system here. It's kind of annoying that we have to do this, but the reason this is all a real problem is because I built this engine sort of flawed because I built it on a half block. So every time you attach this engine to something, it's a half block off from everything else. So this drive axle comes out a half block off from what you attached it to, which is a really stupid way to build it. So I'm going to build all my engines in the future properly lined up so that the axle's always on line with the block that you're placing the engine down onto. And I should check like my other ones. I'll rebuild a better version of this at some point. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So that's the issue. I spent way too long just trying to tinker around with this. So I'm just gonna YOLO it and not do that. And yeah, we're just gonna try and make this work. There we go, something like this. This is again really terrible, but you know, it's Gearblocks, so as long as we deliver power to the back, I really don't care. So this is a 1 to 2 now instead of a 2 to 3. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Let's see. G. I mean, it works. It's whether or not we can. Oh, once again, my one wheel brake is not on. Hold on a minute. That's important. There we go. Yeah, I forgot to set it so that you only have control when seated. So we're driving the car remotely, and that's just into a tree. Perfect. All right. Oh my God, I don't have reverse. Ha! We really need to build a transmission. Yeah, at the bare minimum, we need a transmission with forward and reverse. I totally forgot now we don't have reverse because it's a combustion engine. It only spins forward. Yeah, oh my goodness. Well, there's flaws, but yeah, we're gonna drive this around now. I guess, again, hold on. Like, can I, there we go. Let's turn off invincibility. It works. I mean, it works. I'm thrilled with the fact that I finally have a car that works and we can start testing. But obviously, I totally forgot about the fact that before we can test a car, we need to build a car that actually has a transmission built into it, because every engine we put on is gonna have to have a transmission. That's so funny. All right, well, this engine redlines at 6,000. We're only at 2. It does shred its own wheel wells, though, at high speed. It's a little drifty. Yeah, I feel like we really need a transmission. I sort of built all the key elements to the car and forgot about the most important element, which is you need proper gearing to actually drive well with an engine. But this does work. Like, it's quite stable, you can see. And I did stiffen all the suspension up. Let's go up this way. So it's really, really smooth. You do have to slow down here a little bit. Lost something. Yeah, I don't think I should be taking too many curbs. Yeah, gearing is going to be huge. Definitely going to need to gear this thing and get a reverse gear. I want to build, like, ideally... I think we're a little low. I think we're a little low to the ground. Look at the wheel. The wheel's still going around the track. Well, let's spot another one. Let's get out of here. I need a better engine and a better transmission. The transmission for sure. But we'll have to build an engine for this car at some point. And then I definitely need to build like a big SUV or a big truck. Probably a big truck for testing all sorts of big engines. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. We're just gonna keep driving. I love this car. Like, I'm really a big fan of Gearblocks. And obviously this car needs some things, but I spent way too long on it not to show you guys the current progress and then have you all tell me all the things I did wrong. And then half of you probably accused me of not actually even building the car myself because I didn't build the whole thing on camera because I wasn't gonna film like 60 hours of me building a stupid car. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you hit those like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time. The wheel wells are cool, but they do interfere with the wheels. I should bring the suspension up more. But it looks cool slammed. The wheels don't do well slammed though.